There's actually no way that I have to use Black Tassel in her. Hello guys, welcome back to 3 stars only, where we tried to clear the abyss with only 3-star artifacts and weapons. In the last episode, we managed to clear floor 4, so in today's episode, we will try to figure everything out and try to clear at least floor 5, but we're aiming for floor 6 as well. The first goal of today is actually to get to AR 25, because we're severely under level compared to the current abyss mobs. So first things first, I did my dailies and then talked to Catherine to collect a good chunk of EXP. Then I remembered that I never finished the first Archon quest, so I went back up to meet with Venti and the gang to face off a very angry Devalin before he put us through the most boring stall battle of the early game. Hoyu could definitely make this a lot more interesting though. Anyways, after continuously shooting him down, we finally were able to have a direct confrontation with him. And despite not having access to any 4-star or 5-star weapons and artifacts, we still managed to cleanly one-cycle Devalin. Then the ground started to break down and we get thrown into what looks like the actual abyss. Luckily, Devalin came to his senses and came to our rescue after riding on Shenron to Mondstadt, where peace has been restored after Storm Terror's rage has been quelled. Unfortunately, we cannot continue onwards with the Archon quest because apparently this Cyrus guy is busy. I thought they added the immersive feature where this conflict thing wouldn't happen again, but I guess that only applies to later quest lines. So we had no choice but to actually comply and clear out some healer churls. Along the way I realized that I can unlock Barbara now, which can be useful for the run because she's currently our only healer. We also made another pool and get another copy of Harbinger of Dawn, which is very important because we have 3 sword users now. We then went back to the Cyrus guy to complete his quest and can finally resume the Archon quest as we meet up with Amber to check out how the repair progress is going on. Then what do you know? We have to talk to the Cyrus guy again. Afterwards, we talked to another 2 locals about the current state of Mondstadt after being terrorized by Storm Terror. However, the problem arises after we spoke to this lady as we found out that now Kaya is involved in the quest. I mean, I guess it does make sense because he's technically a part of the Knight of Favonius, but the issue is that I haven't done his quest, so annoyingly enough, we have to go find him and start another quest just to do the Archon quest. Luckily, after we talked to him outside about his secrets, which is totally not shady at all, we're freed from doing his quest and then proceed to go to Good Hunter to talk to him as a continuation of the Archon quest. Immediately afterwards, we saw and had lunch with Amber and then went to the cathedral with Venti to give back the damaged Holy Lyre to Barbara and made her pass out. Venti then leveraged his Archon power to put a band-aid fix on the Holy Lyre, then did before Barbara can find out about it. Unfortunately, he immediately encountered Senora, and after not being able to walk the walk, he had his noses snatched away while we just stood there, hopelessly watching the whole thing. Like, why are we so weak? Is this even lore accurate? Anyways, then Barbara heals us and we head out to meet Venti under this tree that apparently can heal him, and after finishing talking to him, it officially concludes the first Archon quest and we can finally upgrade Animal Traveler to C3 and also get a free wish. Well, we did not get another Harbinger of Dawn unfortunately, but at least TTDS is now R5. Then I thought about doing Skirk's story quest because it gives us some material to level her up, but apparently it isn't available for us to do yet. But I noticed that there's a quest that tells us to talk to Charlotte in Fontaine, so I thought Fontaine can be unlocked now. So I looked aimlessly across the map for a teleport waypoint because I heard that new players get those added for an easier time farming for mats in newer region like Fontaine or Natlin, which is exactly what I need to do right now. So after a bit of googling, I realized that it's not available until AR 25, so Skirk has to wait until then to be upgraded. So for now we managed to get one of the Harbinger of Dawns up to level 40. We also got Traveler up to level 40 as well. And I also upgraded a couple artifacts, but the rolls were tragic as per usual. As for other characters to upgrade, I decided to hold off on Candace for now because her passive to buff Skirk's normal damage is locked behind her A2 passive, which we don't have access to yet. On the other hand, I'm putting heavy emphasis on Xiangling because she's the best pyro damage dealer I have right now, and our biggest obstacle right now is the cryo slimes on floor 5, so it's only right to upgrade her. But the problem is that we literally have no polearm to use on her. There's actually no way that I have to use Black Tassel on her because we don't have access to the catch, despite that being an F2P weapon because it's actually a 4-star. Now luckily that was when I remembered that we can actually get White Tassels from chests in Liyue. Although it doesn't have the highest base stats, it at least has crit rate as a secondary stat. And thankfully I only need 1 copy of it because refinement only gives normal attack damage bonus, which is not needed because this isn't Arlecchino. So with that goal set, I headed out to Liyue to open some chests. This actually kills 2 birds in 1 stone because it gives the EXP needed to get to AR 25 while hunting for a better weapon for Xiangling. And my main account has so many of them, so I thought it would be a piece of cake to obtain one here, and I couldn't be more wrong because my sanity slowly slips away in the next couple of hours. So the first mistake that I made was that I didn't realize that White Tassel can only spawn in luxurious chests. and also precious chests. Or at least nearly 100 of the common and exquisite chests that I opened did not contain any white tassels. So still feeling optimistic, I head out to search for some luxurious and precious chests. The first one was pretty easy, we just had to beat this rune guard and open the chest, but no white tassel in sight. So we move on to the next one, where we fought another rune guard, and it's like deja vu, because the result was exactly the same. No white tassel. Along the way, I unlocked the Statue of the Seven, and I changed Traveler to Geo because I think it's actually better for the 5th floor, because Geo Traveler in theory can deal with the cryo slimes better, because the cryo slimes are immune to Animal Traveler's swirl damage if it's infused with cryo. Anyways, then I did this challenge and fought a bunch of Heliotros and got 2 precious chests this time. Surely now this is our time. Bro, there's actually no way. How is this possible? How do we not have this yet? Why is it so hard? But hey, at least we got a Harbinger of Dawn in the aftermath. And I'm not really used to the map being dark, so I continued to unlock another Statue of the Seven, and along the way, I found another precious chest. And you guessed it, no white tassel. And there's a little bit of an ongoing pattern here, as the next couple of chests don't have white tassels either. Then I learned that the chances of a white tassel drop-in are completely random. Like what? Why? Like you're saying that my account can be bricked if I'm unlucky. Why? Why do you do this? If I don't get white tassel here, it is a huge blow to the account, because the only 2 offensive polearms are white tassel and halberd, which I have never even heard of. But you guessed it, it can only be obtained by opening chests in Liye. So we can still get unlucky and get neither of them. And we're completely screwed if that happens, because there's literally no good other 3-star polearm. But at least there's a bit of silver lining, as we upgraded our feather and got our first ever double crit feather. Now the other 2 substats are dead, but it's a good base to work from. I also opened our previous Abyss reward and locked some of the potential pieces. I can't level them up yet because I don't have enough fodder right now, but feeling absolutely discouraged after not finding any white tassel so far. I took a bit of a break from the white tassel hunt and went back to farming for Harbinger of Dawn so we can upgrade it once we reach AR 25. I also remember that I had 2 keys for the Shrine of Depth and Mondstadt that I haven't used yet, so I quickly head over and unlocked them for some EXP. Nearby there was a Futui camp with a precious chest, so I quickly handled them. Now here I thought that there was a chance for a white tassel, because I was so consumed with the whole idea that I completely forgot that this isn't even Liye. Anyways, then I went on to Dragon Spine because it's really close by, and also because I want to unlock the tree that gives you the rewards. But first, we gotta lit up the map by unlocking another Statue of the Seven. Then I went straight to where this lava troll is, and I remember being so scared of this thing when I first played Genshin and couldn't figure out how to kill it. I didn't even properly know how to dodge an iframe back then, so everything was so tough. But maybe that was the whole magic of everything, because everything was so new and so exciting. But now I feel like older players like us already know too much about the game, so maybe that's why we start to get bored. Anyways, deep thoughts aside, I managed to kill the lava troll with a bit of dodging and grab the nearby stone to unlock the Frostbearing tree. At this point, I decided to challenge the 5th floor again to see where we're at, and yeah, we're not even close right now, as we can't even clear any of the cryo slimes from the first wave yet. So feeling a lot more determined, I went back to find some white tassel, where I encountered this weird puzzle that I don't really understand the mechanics of, but after a little bit of shooting it randomly, a precious chest awaits as a reward. But upon opening it, I finally got a weapon, but it's a Sky Rider sword, which gives physical damage bonus. Totally very useful for our future Marika. I'm so glad we got this weapon. At this point, our resin is beginning to cap, so I went to fight the Pyro Registine to level up Shangling. After doing 2 runs and bought some more time, we got Shangling up to level 40, and now it's time to go back to chest hunting, where I found this precious chest underground and easily unlock it after being the Heliotros guarding it. But surprise, surprise! No white tassel again. But after all the fodders I got, I managed to get another feather up to 8, and surprisingly, it's another double crit piece. But this time it's a Berserker piece, so it's on set, and it's actually really good that it has an ERO as well, which can be really helpful for characters like Kaya or Traveler. So we kept on traversing Liye and ran into this Fatui camp, where we quickly got rid of them to once again get absolutely nothing. At this point, I'm way too deep in the rabbit hole, so I pushed through all the frustration and found another location. This time it was a bit harder because there's a really tanky Lawatro along with a lot of Hilichurl, but the entire camp gave us 2 precious chests, but both were trash of course.
Stop it.
So we head on to the next location, where we didn't get it again. Like, at this point, I'm starting to believe that this thing just don't exist, and I'm starting to get really worried that we might never get a white tassel in this account, because I'm not sure how many precious chests are left in Liyue at this point. But I managed to find 2 more in the city itself, but still no cigar. But at least the skirk is good though. Like, every time Hoyo is trying to give me that tiny little bit of copium after my hours of searching hopelessly for this thing. So as I went to the next location, I was reminded by how annoying exploration in Liyue really was. Because of the pure amount of climbing that has to be done, this should actually be illegal. And I really took Chaska and Shangyun for granted on my main account, because both of them have such good mobility that can easily climb and traverse through the map. And after painfully making my way to the top, I was rewarded with absolutely nothing. And what do you know? It was more and more and more and more and more of the same. I still don't have it. After all of that, I realized that I got a halberd in one of those chests that I completely missed somehow, which is the second best alternative, so I just give up on the entire thing and decided to go with it for now. I then leveled it up to 20 and initially thought that these materials were from Inazuma for whatever reason. Turns out this is not the case, and I just haven't unlocked the domain yet, but that was the reason why I didn't farm and upgrade it to level 40. So after gearing Shangling a little bit and took all the best artifacts for her, we went back and attempted the floor again, when things look a little bit better as we managed to clear some of the first wave, but the damage is nowhere near enough because it takes almost 40 seconds per wave. I tried a couple more times to see if the time can be improved, but nothing really changes. So I decided to test out if Kale and Lisa would work out because they enable more reactions than Geo Traveler. But unfortunately it didn't really work out because Lisa and Kale were too weak because they haven't been properly built yet. So I went back to the drawing board and farmed some more mats to level up a slingshot for Amber and actually give her some decent artifacts. They actually all look copium, but at this point I haven't been able to farm artifacts yet and there isn't enough fodder to even properly level things up. But with the new team assembled, I decided to test and see if there's any difference. This time is looking a lot better as we can finally clear the first wave in a reasonable amount of time, but it still isn't good enough because we only have 3 minutes for both halves, and after trying time and time again, I can't even get the first half to be under 3 minutes. Now you might be thinking this is the point where I give up and focus on leveling up to AR25, but no, because I'm so stubborn that I actually went back and put back on some relevant pieces back on Skirk and to use her on the floor and utilize the Cryo Abyss blessing to deal shrew damage every 4 hits. However, it went as well as you expected because they are all Cryo slimes and Skirk is Cryo, so she dealt no damage and the Abyss blessing alone isn't enough to carry the team forward. So at this point my brain was completely fried, so I took a break and returned the next day. Now it is obvious that the team's power level is heading toward the right direction, but it's still lacking a little bit. So I did my dailies and went back to report to Catherine to get a good chunk of EXP to focus on leveling up to AR25 to ascend my world, and now we're at AR24, so edging ever so closely to the finish line. So I did a couple more small quests to earn some EXP. I first talked to this guard outside Mondstadt's gate to answer a quiz for 100 EXP. Then I talked to Flora for another 100 EXP, but 100 EXP at a time is pretty slow, so I checked the Adventurer's Handbook to see if there's anything we can do, and turns out there is. We can take out a Ruin Hunter for 500 EXP, and conveniently enough, clicking on it shows you exactly where one is. So I decided to make my way there, and on the road picked up some more chests for more EXP. Among those is a precious chest. Obviously, there's no white tassel again. Shake my head. After a bit more exploring, we had enough for some wishes, and on the standard banner, I got Shangling, which can be good later as we need to unlock her C4 for her to truly be good. And on the limited banner, things are finally looking up as we got Dahlia, which is one of the best units for Skirk as he's Hydro, so he fits in the freeze archetype, and also he buffs Skirk's attack speed. Anyways, after a lot of climbing and running around later, we finally got to where the Ruin Hunter is and made quick work of it for an easy 500 EXP. And because we picked up so many Geoculus along the way that there's actually enough to upgrade the statue of the 7, so that's another 200 EXP. And strangely enough, we finally unlocked the quick commission feature thing. Like, I totally don't understand the criteria of unlocking it because I haven't leveled up or anything. So is it based on your statue of the 7 progress or something? If anyone knows, then please let me know in the comment section so I know for future challenges, because this feature is a big time saver because now we can just explore and use our resin instead of having to actually do the daily commissions. Then I went back to fight the Pyroregious Shrine again, simply because this is the easiest boss for me to fight right now because Kaya and Skirk does pretty well into it, and Barbara and Candace can easily stun it. I also got Lisa up to level 20, thinking that she might be useful for this run, and then I headed to this one-time domain because it gives 200 EXP for clearing it, and also a key to a Shrine of Depth, so it's very time efficient for EXP farming. The domain was pretty easy. crazy. And we got an additional precious chest, so even more EXP. And there's actually another domain like this, but this time it's a whopping 500 EXP, so this is a total no-brainer. I quickly completed it and got another precious chest at the end, so now we only need 2,000 more EXP to get to AR 25. I then decided that it was a good idea to farm a bit more for Lisa because she's Electro, so technically she can help break the shield of the Cryo Slime a little bit and also deal a good amount of damage. So after 2 consecutive runs, I went to find the Shrine of Depth to use the key that we got earlier and get another 60 EXP each. Using the fodder I got from it, I upgraded some of the artifacts for Ember, but that never goes well, to be honest. I decided to use Exile on her because ER is very useful to get her burst back up on cooldown because it can easily deal with the Cryo Slime's shields. And speaking of Cryo Slimes, I encountered some while doing ley lines for some Mora, so we won't run out when building characters. They were quite annoying, so after some time wasted, we finally got a reward. I did a couple more runs and call it a day because it was starting to get late. So the next day I started to do daily commissions again and then realized that I have unlocked the adventurer encounters, so I went to find some chests to open and realized that there's another one-time domain available. This time it's in Liye, so it's actually a bit harder with a level 45 Lao Churro, and even with us abusing a broken reaction like freeze, it was still pretty hard to beat because it packed a big punch whenever we're unable to dodge. But with both Kaya and Skirk on the sliver, we managed to still clear the domain for 500 EXP and another 60 from this precious chest. With the keys to a Shrine of Depth included, now we're only 500 EXP away, so some dailies would do the trick. I actually found one last precious chest, but white tassel are still hiding from me, so I just picked up another random common chest nearby to have enough encounter points for the daily commission, and we're literally 17 EXP away from AR 25. So as I was trying to find a Shrine of Depth to unlock, I found this exquisite chest and finally got enough EXP for AR 25. Then I was rudely interrupted by these things when trying to unlock the Shrine of Depth for some fodder. Afterwards, I went to Catherine for our level up reward and also pick up the free Lynette, which I have never even used on my main account, so maybe she'll get a chance to shine in this challenge. Afterwards, I headed to the Ascension domain to fight some Hilichurls, then some more Hilichurls, then flew past a couple more Hilichurls to find even more Hilichurls guarding the final stage, where additional Hilichurls awaited me, and after dealing with all of them, we finally ascended. But I swear that there was like a boss fight back in the days when I ascended, or did I misremember that for a higher level ascension? Anyways, we picked up the luxurious chest and got 2 free wishes, where we got the craziest pulls. And as we are now AR 25, I tried to figure out how we can ascend Skirk, but the issue is that she needs materials from all over Natlan and Fontaine, with her boss drop deep in Fontaine. But luckily, there is a shortcut teleport waypoint unlocked, so we quickly went there and got quest locked by our little friend that I eventually named Gibble, because he kind of resembles a Gibble, and Garchomp was one of my favorite Pokemons. And after finishing the quest, I quickly went to the Statue of the Seven to unlock Pyro Traveler, who can be very good at dealing with Cryo Slimes. But I was quickly reminded that she is not available to us yet, and we actually have to complete the Archon quest first. And because Skirk also needs material from Fontaine, I also went there and unlocked the region. Then I realized how much of a pain it would be to farm for Skirk right now, and the real problem right now are the Cryo Slimes. I decided to first upgrade Traveler because the essential materials are given out for free, so she's the first one to get to level 50. I also level up a Harbinger of Dawn to level 50. Next up is Shangling, but we're missing some chili peppers, so I had to go to Liye again to collect them. And this feature is pretty nice, so we can have an easier time looking for our materials. But the thing is that without a character that has a passive to pinpoint the local materials, I don't even know where exactly things are. So after wandering around for a little bit, I finally found some. However, soon I got distracted by this Abyss Mage that has a precious chest. So this is actually our last hope to get White Tassel. And obviously, we did not get it. Wow, what a surprise there. But as the water recedes, I realized that there's another one down below. So I went there and collect these strange rocks to light up these things to lower the water level once again, to reveal the chests that don't even drop any materials. So without any more hope for a White Tassel, I just completely give in and farm for Halberd to level it up. And the domain was pretty annoying with a bunch of waves of Electro Slimes, but thankfully one run was enough. Now we finally ascended Shangling to level 50, and crucially her talents can now be upgraded. So we got both Global and Pyronado up to level 2. Also, I was gonna upgrade Halberd, but we're missing some of the mats, so I quickly went to unlock a teleport waypoint and kill one of the citizens nearby, but we're literally one short. So after killing another one, I finally managed enough and got Halberd to level 50. I also got her Goblet up to level 6, but we literally have ran out of Mora, so we can't do any additional upgrade. Like, how is this even possible? We're literally AR 25 and I've been farming a lot of ley lines and still managed to somehow ran out of Mora. I didn't run into any Mora issues back in the days, but maybe this is because we're trying to progress through the game a lot lot quicker and not do the Archon quest on time, so that's why we're lacking a little bit of the Mora income. Left without no other options, I shuffle a bit of artifacts around to make sure that Amber, Shangling, and Geo Traveler are as strong as possible. Even then, the build is still pretty copium with some unleveled pieces on Geo Traveler. I literally am not even looking at my Skirk and Kaya build right now. That's how tough of an obstacle these cryo slimes really are. So equipped with the best current setup, I head back to challenge the Abyss once again. Surprisingly, the team is doing a lot better now because we managed to clear the first wave in only 20 seconds. The only annoying thing is that Geo Traveler's pillar sometimes block the way, so I have to run around to not accidentally climb on it. But these cryo slimes are still very annoying because they can deal a lot of damage to us because they're level 55, which is higher than us currently, and also they apply cryo to us, so we attack and run a lot slower, so stamina is often the big issue here. So I try my best to kite around and not be damaged too much because there's still chamber 2 and 3 afterwards. Sucrose is also very key here because she provides very good CC, and sometimes you can even infuse pyro for more damage. But this floor is really annoying because there are electro helitrolls that keep sniping us from afar, and because of the cryo slimes, we kept being superconducted, and also the last cryo slime can put up this cage to prevent us from even escaping if we don't dodge it beforehand. Luckily, we managed to take it out, but unfortunately, Geo Traveler went down in the process. Literally everyone is so low right now, with 2 electro helitrolls left standing. Critically, we managed to use Sucrose's burst before she herself went down. I then switched to Shangling and dropped down Guoba before switching to Amber to drop Baron Bunny, but she was immediately taken down afterwards. But crucially, the timing works out so well because when she died, the other helitroll was shooting, so we were safe when Shangling switches back in for a 1v2. Now I started to do normal attack, but with time literally ticking, and tried to time my iframes. Unfortunately, it wasn't good enough, but we managed to cling on with only 295 health and finish off the chamber with only 39 seconds to go. So I thought I can only manage 2-star. However, the second half only has 2 Abyss Mages, so it's a very good matchup for our freeze team. So I simply used Candace into Kaya before going to Barbara to break the shield. I did this to pass TTDS to Skirk, and I made sure to push this Abyss Mage into the other one and make quick work of it. So with 23 seconds to go, I realized I can actually get 3-star. Now victory is within sight, so I made sure to freeze the Abyss Mage to prevent any weird shenanigans from happening. Then I went back to Skirk to take out the Abyss Mage for an actual 3-star. That was so surprising because it was actually the first attempt, but now it's not possible to keep going because the first half only has Shangling left and she's only on like 200 health. But luckily now we can focus on getting 3-stars on chamber 2 and 3. So I checked the lineup and realized it's a lot easier. So now the main task is to keep everyone as healthy as possible while clearing chamber 1 and have everyone's burst back up. We don't have to 3-star it again because we only have to do it once. So I decided to level up Barbara a bit because she's our only healer, and luckily we got some more Mora from 3-star in the first chamber, so it was just enough to get her to level 20, as I literally only have 6k Mora left, so I can't level her up any higher. So I went back in with the exact same team lineup and played everything really slowly and managed to get everyone's burst back up. Now the only problem is Sucrose being on super low health, but since the other members still have good health, I decided to keep going with the run. The second side is really easy because we have a really good matchup. I just use Barbara and make sure everyone's on full health before starting the next chamber. Chamber 2 has a bunch of treasure hunters, and they're very spread out and tanky at the same time. So Sucrose being at this low of a health is very bad because of the ranged ones keep one-tapping her. So I tried this run many times, and even strategically placed Geo Traveler's pillar as a shield to block some of the attacks. But it's so impractical because Sucrose kept dying, and I can't really play consistently because of it. So I decided to just retry the entire thing to keep everyone at a higher HP. But this time I decided to put Barbara in the first half because she can sustain the team better, and put Dahlia on the second side to still be able to clear the Abyss Mage's shield. Now survivability wise is a lot easier, however the damage is significantly lower without Sucrose's grouping. Nevertheless, we still managed to make it through the second side, staying pretty healthy as well thanks to Barbara. The only caveat is that there's not a lot of Hydro application right now, so I had to make sure that Candace's ult procs once on the new Abyss Mage, and also use Dahlia's burst on it as well. Then I managed to take out the shield with another Candace skill, and slowly but surely killed it while maintaining our health. Now we're back to the second chamber, with the team at a much better HP range. Now even though the damage is less, that's okay because I got 6 whole minutes for this chamber, so survivability takes priority. So I just took everything very slowly, dropping everyone's ability whenever it's available, and focus on dodging and healing with Barbara whenever possible. I also used Traveler's skill and burst to cage them in and hit everyone with Shangling's burst for maximum damage. The entire fight was long and tedious because of how tanky they actually are, but slowly we withered their health down and made it through the second half with 1 minute and 42 seconds to go. The second side is more or less the same with 13 treasure hunters. Now the issue is both of with our Hydro units are much lower than I expected. I must have gotten hit by the Pyro Abyss Mage a little bit and didn't notice it. So Dahlia got instantly killed off. So I got a lot more cautious and started using Skirk instead to AoE them down and stagger them a little bit so they don't hit back. And thanks to the Abyss Blessing, it was pretty easy to take them out. Then when the opportune time came, I quickly used Candace's skill and burst for some Hydro application to freeze the enemies. Kaya came in clutch here, killing a bunch of low health treasure hunters. And with his burst and Skirk's on-field cryo, we easily managed to clear out the next wave, and now only 5 is left standing. But they proved to be very tough as they managed to kill off Candace and left Skirk on a sliver of health. But luckily we managed to use Kaya's skill and burst on time before going back to Skirk to clean everything up to get our 3-star. However, our team is deeply wounded, so getting another 3-star in the last chamber seems to be like an impossible task. But we got so lucky that we actually got a card that instantly restores 25% HP to all party members. So obviously that was the one that I took. And surprisingly, the last chamber looks the easiest out of the bunch as there are only 3 enemies. So I just tossed them into the edge of the map and pushed them around a little bit with Traveler's skill so they can be grouped up. After AoEing them a little bit, the 2 treasure hunters went down first, and now only the electro assistant stand. Now the only thing we have to do is to make sure it doesn't go into its enhanced state and kill us. So I make sure to constantly stagger it with charge attack and skill from Shield Traveler. It's pretty tanky, so it actually took a while for us to take it down, but we eventually managed to. But there's only 1 minute left on the clock, and the Abyss card did not revive Candace and Dahlia, which I thought it would because it says that all party members will get 25% of their health back, but I guess it only applies to those who are still alive. Luckily enough, the second side only has 3 enemies as well, and I know that this Fatui will do a spinning attack, so I carefully use Kaya's skill and then run around a little bit to get another skill in, and when it's safe and the Fatui went invisible, I switch to Skirk and kill off the 2 pesky treasure hunters. Now the test is pretty simple with only the Fatui left. I use Kaya's skill and burst and then switch to Skirk to easily kill him off with the help of the Abyss Blessing to defy all odds and actually manage to get a 3-star. We then claim the Abyss reward and see that there's actually no good artifacts, so we move on to floor 6, and surprise surprise, there are more cryo slimes. So I went to convert back to Animal Traveler because I want to abuse the Abyss Blessing, as I found out that it's really strong when a duo team of Skirk and Kaya can actually handle a Sai easily. We also went to this lady to get another constellation for Animal Traveler and got her to C3. Now it's some more Mora and fodder. I got Shangling's Goblet up to level 9, Traveler's Circlet up to 4, and unlocked 3 Shrines of Depth for more fodders. I don't even know where I got the keys from, to be honest. But anyways, we got more fodders, and I got the same circlet up to 8 as well as another circlet to the same level. The rolls are so tragic that we don't talk about those. Now with a little bit of reconfiguring and reorganizing, we went back with this lineup, with the idea that Pyro with Swirl is ideal to deal with the cryo slimes, but we quickly abort the mission after the first attempt, after realizing how tanky the Whopper Flower is. Like, it didn't even take 50% damage after a full rotation. So I went back to the drawing board and crafted a seemingly counterintuitive team with Kaya and Skirk against the cryo slimes. But the idea here is that the Abyss Blessing will carry us, but it didn't quite work out as intended because they are hidden very hard. So I decided to level up Dahlia for some defensive utility. Like, was he actually only level 1 in the previous run where we cleared the 5th floor? Well, that's no wonder why he died early on. I even tried to ascend him and level him up to level 40, but I realized we're running low on book, so I decided against it and save it in case we need it for another unit. I put him on 4-piece exile to give the team back a little bit of energy and got him Sky Rider Sword for some ER so he can actually burst more often. So with that, we went back to the Abyss and the run went a lot smoother, with Sucrose and Skirk dealing the majority of the damage with the Abyss Blessing, and Shangling acting as a cleanup unit that helps with Cryo Slime. And we actually made it through with a lot of time to spare because 8 whole minutes is given for this chamber. The second side was more or less the exact same because the Abyss Blessing is absolutely broken. So I just used Traveler's whole skill to infuse with Cryo, and also use her burst to infuse with Cryo and lump everything up. So we easily were able to handle everything and had so much time left to spare. So I made sure that everyone's burst is available for the next chamber, and even decided to be sweaty and use the book method to safely get more energy back while the Whopper Flower is still frozen. Now the second chamber starts out with a bunch of Hilichurl, so I apply a little bit of Cryo and switch to Sucrose to Swirl, and she's dead. So we try again. So the strategy is simple. We on-fuel Skirk whenever it's safe to stagger the enemy, and use Sucrose to swirl Cryo for additional Cryo hits. Then we use Shangling and Dahlia in between. Unfortunately, Skirk got hit a couple of times, so now she's on half HP, but we still managed to clear the first half in only a minute and 45 seconds, leaving a lot of time on the table for the second half, where it featured a ton of Pyro Slime, which isn't very ideal because of its innate Pyro aura, preventing us from freezing it. But with Barbara on the team, it's much easier, so I just kite around while trying to use Kaya and Animal Traveler's skill whenever possible to apply Cryo and heal back up with Barbara whenever someone is low. It took a little bit of time, but slowly and steadily, we got through the chamber with a lot of time left, so I tried to battery my character as much as I can and secured the easy easy 3-star. The last chamber is surprisingly much easier with only 5 healer churls in the first wave, so we swiftly took care of it. Then lastly there's a Lao churl that, although it's very tanky, didn't pose much of a threat to us because we can actually freeze it and free hit it with skirk. Sometimes it does unfreeze, but it's only a single enemy and its attack pattern is very easy to dodge, so we cleared the first half in just over a minute. The second chamber once again has a ton of pyro enemies, but since we got over 4 minutes left, I just played really safe and tried to stay as healthy as possible at all times. Animal Traveler is absolutely clutch here, as she also kept everything grouped up, while Kaya can also hit everything with AoE and finish up the floor cleanly. So we grabbed the Abyss reward and attempt to clear floor 7 by leveling up Lynette, because I believe that she can infuse cryo with her burst as well, so we can further leverage the ever so OP Abyss Blessing. So I give her a Skyrider sword and just put her on a random instructor set because my Exile is running low, so there's actually no better alternative. Now the team actually does a good job at abusing the broken Abyss Blessing, but it only deals a fixed amount of HP, so proportionally the enemies aren't taking as much damage. At this point I realized I can probably only 2-star the first chamber, so we actually need to gear up our character a bit more to stand a chance, because the Abyss Blessing alone isn't enough anymore. But we actually made a lot of progress in this video, and we will try to clear the upper floors in the next episode. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one.